Sounds a bit Gnostic.
Or like, yeah.
But where does it say that in the historical evidence?
I'm just saying that that's what I think Second Temple Judaism believes.
No, I mean, where's Second Temple Judaism is just a period of time. I'm saying, where in Jesus' ministry, from what we can reconstruct from history, does Jesus talk about himself as an emanation from God? You mentioned Bart Ehrman. I mean, let's do a Bart Ehrman historical critical method analysis.
I'm just pointing the idea that Jews believed in. Well, I guess
Jews believed in lots of things. Some Jews worshipped Baal. Some Jews worshipped angels. Some worshipped their Metatron. Just because Jews did weird and wonderful things doesn't prove anything theologically, other than
you quoted Deuteronomy, right? And
yeah,
you're quoting
because that's normative. I'm saying that there are some things which, in the Torah itself, when God speaks and says, "Say, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one." This is the Shema. This is the creed of Judaism. That has extremely high stakes. It's like the Shahada in Islam.
When do you think Deuteronomy?
It's not equal to any random Jew may have done in history. This is the creed of Judaism.
Well,
that's my point.
Deuteronomy was written.
Sorry.
When do you think Deuteronomy was written?
Well, I'm assuming that it's written well, that's a different question about the dating of it.
Well, because if I would say if it was in the Second Temple period, right?
Well, by definition, it wasn't.
Well,
because it's revealed to Moses. It's the first temple.
Well, no one agrees that it was Moses.
Okay. We're getting lost in the weeds here.
Okay.
Coming back to Jesus.
Okay.
Okay. Is your argument that Jesus thought he was God? Is that what you think?
What do you possibly believe?
Oh yeah. Well, I would probably say that Jesus was probably an apocalyptic prophet, but that later people around him probably believed he was.
Okay. And what's your belief? Do you believe Jesus was God?
No.
Okay. So we're both in agreement then.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not a Christian then?
No, probably not.
Oh, you're not?
Probably not. Yeah. No.
Probably not.
Yeah.
You're not sure. Okay.
I mean, I would be probably more in like the Jungian Jordan Peterson understanding of religion.
Whatever that is, I've never understood what Jordan Peterson actually said about religion or God. It's a mystery to me. Maybe that's the point. It's a mystery.
Well, I would just say that just as evolution affects individuals, it also affects groups, and we can have ideas in our psyche of religious concepts.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Do you believe in God?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're on firmer ground now.
Okay.
This is good. And you used to be a Christian?
Jehovah's Witness. So I'd probably be on the Unitarian point, yeah.
Wow. And you left them, obviously.
Yeah.
May I ask why? That's quite interesting. I've never met an ex-JW before.
Well, have you met an active JW?
Yeah, lots, unfortunately,
I don't talk to you that much.
No, I met lots of them on my doorstep, but I've never met a former one, so
yeah.
May I ask why you left?
Blood transfusions.
Really? Gosh, interesting. The prohibition of is quite strong. Yeah. Interesting. Is that really?
I've read your work and I've watched a lot of your YouTube videos and I have a lot of respect for you. I've seen.
I see.
Like how you integrate with a lot of your academics. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize you'd seen them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah. Well, that's very kind of you. Well, I invite you to look into Islam more.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, my problems with Islam would be probably, why should we care about Muhammad, I guess.
Okay, that's a good question.
Yes.
Right. Well, the reason I think is that Jesus said he was only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. It's there in Matthew 15. The Quran agrees that Jesus was sent to the Jews. Muhammad, though, is sent to all of mankind as a mercy to all of mankind. So, in fact, he is sent for you and me as Caucasians and Arabs and Chinese and whatever.
Yes.
But that's the only prophet that's ever been sent to mankind. And his message is just a confirmation of all the previous revelations. The belief in one God without partners, which is what you already believe, and that we should live upright lives, we should submit to him alone.
Right.
And this is what Jesus taught. This is what Moses taught. This is what the prophets taught. So it's not a new message. So in a sense, what's to disagree with, really, if you already accept the teaching of Jesus? This is...
Well, I wouldn't.
Oh, right.
Because I would say that each of these gospels are pretty much writings of later communities that are retrofitted. I mean, I guess more of a question just to understand you. How do you balance, I guess, historical criticism when it comes to the New Testament as well as with the Quran?
So what was the question?
how do you balance your understanding of historical criticism when it comes to the New Testament, but as well as with the Quran?
It's apples and oranges. It's a question of ontology. So, what is the Bible? I would answer it's a library of books written by many different people over 1,000 years or more, most of whose authors we don't even know who they are.
Yes.
And that tradition has been changed and reworked as well, as scholars will tell us.
Yes.
The Quran is a single book revealed to a single person in one moment of history. Of history, either it is what it claims to be, which is the actual speech of God Himself, or it's not. If it is what it claims to be, the actual speech of God, then it's not like a human composition that, say, Paul's occasional letters are, or much of the Old Testament, which doesn't even claim to be revelation. It's historical books and so on. Yeah, I do actually. Again, very kind. Just milk. It's very just no sugar. It's very, very kind of him. If you like, the ontology of the Bible is quite different from the Quran. If the Quran is what it says it is, then we must accept it as God's speech to us, to human beings,
Right.
Which is what Muslims believe. If it's not that, then it's just an historical curiosity.
Right.
So, but if it is what we believe it to be, then you can't just treat it like any other text. And the historical critical method, one of its premises or assumptions, is that we must view every text, be it the Quran or the Bible or whatever, as like any other text. We view them all in the same way. That's not an assumption that Muslims can accept, because we believe the Quran, as it claims to be repeatedly, is the actual speech of God Himself. In which case, we can't subject God to historical criticism.
Well,
in that sense.
I mean, it is in Arabic, right?
Yes.
So we could do a historical criticism, right? That is a
This is true. No,
right?
okay. I should caveat what I'm saying. I made a very bold statement, but I want to caveat what I've said. There are some aspects of the historical critical method which are fine and not a problem.
Right.
So, for example, you could look into the chronology of the surahs, for example, because they're not in chronological order. They're in order of length, apart from the first one. So Surah Baqarah is the longest, and the second longest, and third longest, pretty much. You could look into their chronological sequence. You could do that. You could look at the historical cultural context of the Prophet in Arabia. You could understand a bit more about the groups he's addressing, the Jews or the Sabians or the people of the book or whatever. You could look at the linguistic aspects of it in terms of understanding the semantics of it. There's an awful lot you could do. Manuscripts, you could do textual criticism. You could look at the manuscript evidences for the Quran and the Mushrafs and so on. There's an awful lot you could do, you're right. But one of the assumptions of the HCM, which is not acceptable Islamically, I think, is we must assume that the Quran is in effect a human composition. And that's where we would draw the line, because it's a category mistake.
Well, okay, where's the balance in that, right? Because how I understand is that an angel spoke to Muhammad, right? And then Muhammad dictated agreements, right? So we have God's concept, and then that's transferred into a human concept that he's writing onto a page.
Well, no, he didn't write anything, Muhammad, but he memorized it. But he did actually, obviously, the Quran means recitation. So the other thing is, unlike the Bible, another difference. The Quran was originally, and primarily still is, an oral recitation.
Right.
It's memorized literally by millions and millions of people in their hearts. So if every physical Quran disappeared from the earth today, it wouldn't really matter, because we would still know what it says. And it's been memorized mutawatir massively through mass transmission right back to the beginning. The Bible's not like that. No one's ever memorized the whole Bible. It's impossible. It's millions of words.
What about Jews? I mean, isn't the oral tradition from
Jews? I mean the Christian Bible.
Okay, okay,
But and also it's which Bible. There are different, not just translations, there are different canons. The canon is like an authoritative list of books, and so the Jewish canon is different from the Christian canon and other canons.
Don't Muslims disagree on, I guess, hadiths?
Yeah, but not on the Quran. We all agree there's 114 surahs or chapters of the Quran. It doesn't matter what kind of Muslim you are, we all believe that. There are the normative tradition in Sunni Islam, and Sunni Islam is the mainstream 90% of the world. We do have some collections of hadiths which are a gold standard, like Bukhari and Muslim, and there are about 6 canonical collections. But there are a lot of fakes out there, a lot of forgeries, and there's always been known, and that's why Bukhari, for example, created his Sahih Hadith, these golds, these are absolutely reliable, authentically, rigorously tested with a great isnad and so on. But there are forgeries, and we've known this. There's always been an issue, but it's not stopped us having authentic hadiths.
I have seen a movement of Muslims trying to reject all hadiths and be only Quranists. Is that?
It's not. That's a non-starter. It's completely.
A non-starter? Okay.
Absolutely. You can't.
Okay.
The Quran itself asks us, invites us, tells us to follow the example of the Prophet, to obey his teachings, to follow his teachings. Well, we can't do that unless we have the teachings that he gave about how to interpret the Quran. And if you don't have it, then we end up with some very un-Islamic teaching as well.
That's why they're trying to push it.
You've got to.
They're trying to remove these. Yeah.
Well, I'll give an example of why we must read. The normative Islamic position is we read the Quran through the Sunnah of the Prophet, through his prism. Okay. That's how we interpret it. So, to give an example, it says in the Quran that if a thief steals something, you cut off their hand. But in practice, that doesn't happen quite so quickly like that. And why is that? Because the Prophet himself, who is told by God to teach the Quran, tells us that whatever is stolen has to be of a certain value. It can't be in the public realm.
Power, they will cut.
If there are lots and lots of caveats and qualifications, which make it in practice. Thank you very much. Not something that will happen very quickly and very easily. So if you just had this rule about cutting off a thief, then a child who stole a sweet would have their hand amputated, and that's never happened in Islamic history. So, the passage doesn't say that. It says a thief has their hand cut off without any qualification. But that's not the Sharia. The Sharia is based on the Quran and the Sunnah, and there are lots of further specifications and details about how to implement this teaching. It's the same with the other punishments for, say, fornication or adultery. It's not quite.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Okay. Well, I'm talking to this gentleman. I'm chatting to this gentleman, actually.
Yeah, he will listen. Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
Yeah? Yeah?
Okay, just one.
You don't like?
Well, I suspect we're going to get into. I suspect you're going to. Given your attitude so far, I suspect you're just going to attack and be not having a good conversation with this guy.
Do you believe that we are from Adam and Eve? Yeah?
Are you a Muslim?
I don't believe.
Well, what is your faith?
I don't
Oh, you're an atheist.
we are. Well, I am a scientist.
No, your beliefs.
I am a scientist.
You could be a Muslim scientist or a Christian scientist or a Jewish scientist. Oh, so you're an atheist?
Belief makes you stupid.
Oh, you are. Okay. Well, it's lovely talking to you.
No,
You've now just insulted people who have. You just insulted
Are
people.
we from Adam and Eve?
I believe in Adam and Eve, absolutely.
Yeah, but how about horses? Are they? Did they have their own Adam and Eve?
Okay, I don't understand your question.
No, I mean, okay, this is the method of creation. Adam and Eve are human. How about horses?
Well, I don't
They
know.
have their own Adam and Eve. How about ants? How about mouse? How about I have cats at home.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I'm very happy with. No, it's very sweet of you. The tea is amazing. Thank you. I really appreciate
God
it.
created it.
No, I don't have any.
Okay, no worries. No,
No,
I'll give it to someone.
You're very kind.
I
Thank you very much.
Religion makes you stupid, and then people fight.
See, I knew if
And
engaged
it's
him
very
that he'd be
dangerous.
insulting. I just sensed
very
it,
dangerous.
which is why I was reluctant
No,
to
my
talk.
friend,
You're going to be
you
rude.
don't tell me I am stupid.
You're very
You don't
rude.
tell me I'm
No, you
that's
did. You
not
just said
an
we're
insult.
stupid.
No, you come here. You have to be. You have to be offended. If you're not offended, if you don't get offended, you'll never learn.
I don't think we're going to learn much
Prepared
from you,
to be
sir.
offended.
Really, we're not going to be learning much from you, sir. I'm afraid.
No. I'm just asking a question. How about
Anyway,
horses? Do
I-
they
I-
have their own Adam and Eve?
Anyway, what's your name, by the way?
Trey.
Nice to meet you, sir. And so
He gave up.
I did give up with you. Yeah, I gave up with him. Yeah. No, I just sensed that he was going to be like that, and he was. Hey, presto. If people were to read the Quran without the Sunnah, not only does that go against what the Quran itself says we should be doing, it's not what the Sahaba, the companions of the Prophet, did. They took the Prophet's teaching very seriously when it came to interpreting the scriptures and applying the law and all sorts of things. So this is a modernist kind of weird heresy that has only really come about in recent years, and has no credibility, and we should just reject it. The idea of ignoring the teaching of the Prophet, I mean, God sent the Prophet to teach, and therefore we should listen to it rather than just ignore it.
Do you know Daniel Chikitu?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had a discussion with, I guess, a scholar who's pretty much trying to be a Muslim and reject all.
Do you know who that was? I suspect I do know who it is, but do you remember his name?
I don't. You can literally look up Daniel Ejiketu,
I know
liberal
Daniel.
scholar,
Yeah.
and you'll see like the debate back and forth.
There are some modernists who are quite anti-hadith, and I think they. You see, there are some Muslims, unfortunately, who are very impressed with the West, particularly secular morality and secular values.
Yeah.
And because the West, at the moment, thinks it rules the world.
Yeah.
Life is a lot easier for some people in their minds if we just accept what the West says about LGBT or whatever. And so wherever there's a clash between what Islam teaches and what many in the West say, then we'll just reinterpret the religion. We'll just do away with these embarrassing hadiths or whatever. And I think that attitude is mistaken. A lot of Christians have already done that with their religion, and so have Jews, actually. And you end up basically creating a man-made religion that's constantly changing, because the West itself is always changing. Like 10 years ago, gay marriage was unthinkable. Now it's compulsory. And who knows if incest will be obligatory in 10 years or bestiality. I mean, seriously. So you're always going to be changing the religion to play catch-up. And this is no way to follow God if we follow men's opinions. So I think we should be more robust and stand up to what we really believe. And if it disagrees with the West, so be it. God is bigger than the West.
I did have one more. Okay, how do you sort of because I'm from America and I'm coming around here and I just see how big.
Which part? Sorry. Which state?
California.
Right. Okay. You must miss the weather. It's very nice here at the moment, apparently.
And because I didn't realize how big of a Muslim population it is here, and I'm curious, like.
It's even bigger in France and Germany as a proportion. Yeah.
But I'm wondering, like, the youth, pretty much, that you're trying to continue the tradition, how is the returnal rate? Because as you said, like, a lot of people just want to accept the West. Like,
yeah.
How does that work here? Like, what systems do you have in place to pretty much keep them coming in?
I'm not sure we have systems in place to keep them coming in. I mean,
how do you, like... Yeah. Oh, I guess you don't.
Well, we do a lot of outreach. Muslims do it here at Speaker's Corner, elsewhere online. So we're always sharing the truth about Islam with people. And it's God who basically changes people's hearts. It's not our job isn't to convert people. Sometimes we think it is probably. Think, we've got to argue this person into faith. But it's not really faith. That's something else, whatever it is. But it is a challenge. You see, in the West now, unless you stand up for your faith and know why you believe what you believe, you're going to go under and you're going to become secular. So that those Muslims that are, particularly the youth, say in London or Birmingham, are usually very strong in their faith because they have to be to survive in this world. And that's good in a way. So even though it's hostile, it has a beneficial side effect. Because if you just sat on your laurels and just relied on blind faith, you go under, because the society will just attack your beliefs and you end up believing what they teach you maybe at school about certain things which are just wrong, morally wrong, for example. So in schools now they teach LGBT for a very early age, and a lot of that goes against the teaching of Islam. Walaikum assalam. So unless you know what Islam teaches for sure, you're just going to accept that, and you're basically going to lose the faith. So Muslims have to know the truth, be certain of it, follow the Quran, follow the Sunnah, and they'll be okay. And submit to God, of course.
How, why do you keep coming back here? Because,
It's a very personal question. What do you mean? Why do I keep coming back?
Well, do you think you're successful every time? Because, I'm coming from a witness, right? And I'll knock on 1,000 doors, and no one would care.
Really?
Yeah.
But about that time, did you find that problematic? Was it demoralizing, or did you just shrug it off and say, "Hey, that's my job"?
Well, as you say, you have to stand up for your faith. Knocking on every single door, it means something different to you, right? It is something where it's like, I believe it's true.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna knock on every single door.
Okay.
Say it's true. But I didn't really expect anybody to believe what I believed.
Right. Well, I mean, I come here for lots of different reasons. I live up the road as my local park. I come here because I have friends here, non-Muslim friends as well, to chat, to socialise. But I also come here to have conversations like this. So I have lots of reasons I come here. So, it's a mixed reasons. and it's not always positive. It can be very toxic down here, to be honest.
Yeah, that's.
So I don't necessarily recommend it. But you meet some nice people like yourself down, good people, and then it becomes a worthwhile experience, really. So.
Well, I'll probably talk to you.
No, that's fine. Nice to meet you, sir.
It was lovely talking to you, and thanks for taking some time to ask.
No, it's great, and good to meet you. Thank you very much. Take care. Right, I've got all the